and start talking to you today about the true kind of love, or a kind of love that is the one that brings result. Let me explain this to you. When we talk about love and being in love with someone, the first thing that comes to our mind is someone becoming emotional, someone really liking that person because they saw someone that was appealing to them. You know, in their eyes, the person looked really nice, really beautiful. And usually people make a decision in who they go for in their love life, beginning on a feeling they got, or based on a feeling they got. They got this feeling that, you know, this person would look good if they were, you know, in my arm. The guy usually likes to have the trophy wife. Is it trophy wife they call it? The trophy wife. The woman likes to have, what's the name? Trophy husband. Trophy husband. And the person, based on that feeling, on really liking what they see, they make a decision. And sometimes that decision doesn't always end well, because that decision was made without using their intelligence. And a lot of people, let's be honest, when you talk about love, the last thing that people would talk about is intelligence. Do you agree with me, yes or no? If we're talking about medicine, finding the cure for cancer, then people talk about intelligence. If we're talking about building a brand new building, right? Something amazing, extraordinary, people would talk about intelligence. But when you talk about love, people don't talk about intelligence. They talk about the feelings they have. And we said today we would be talking to you about how to solve conflicts. And let me tell you, if you are ever going to solve a conflict, whatever conflict it may be, you will never solve it using your heart. A conflict can never be solved between two hearts, my heart and her heart. Actually, usually they say, let's have a heart to heart. Have you heard that? And usually a heart to heart is a conversation that turns into an argument. Now, when you start using your heart, a lot of things start to go wrong. And I want to talk about this today. But not only talking about it, I want to show you the problems that can happen as a result of using our feelings, our emotion, our heart. From the process of selection, because when you're single, the first thing that you go through is to do what? Come on, people, this is an interactive class. I'm single, I'm looking for someone. So the first thing I need to do is to go through a process of what? Selection. Do you agree with me? You look around and you see someone who potentially could be the right person for you, so you try to go through a process of selection. Is it true that women tend to take a little bit too long to choose? I mean, let's not talk about love life only. We're talking about anything else. Usually, who takes longer to choose the outfit to wear? Women, right? I mean, usually when we go out for dinner or for lunch, if we have to choose where we're going to have lunch or dinner, you know, it's that battle. My wife says, no, you choose. Then I say, no, you choose. No, you choose. I choose. I know where I want to eat. She knows as well, but we're trying to be overly polite until someone says, okay, let's go there, right? So when we talk about relationships, and I really, really want you to take this meeting tonight. It's very important, not just for you to think that you could perhaps find someone. I want you to use this meeting for you to see relationships and your love life in a completely different way. So we know that in our love life there's a constant battle between what? The heart and the mind, right? For example, how many times you were dating someone, you're married to someone, and then you have this discussion that is about to turn into an argument, and your heart wanting to prove who's right, because the heart wants to prove, look, I'm the man, I have to prove that I'm right. She's the woman, she also wants to prove that she's right, for some reason. So the heart says that. The heart says, let's have a fight about it, let's have an argument about it. And things are gonna end wrongly. And usually your brain tells you that if you start an argument, how is that gonna end? When she says that we don't know anything, she means, you see, this is where we have to translate. If we were going by the heart, if we were going by the heart, this could turn into an argument, right? So when she says, men don't know anything, we don't know anything unless you tell us something. If you're upset about something, you have to tell me. And if I'm intelligent and I will use my intelligence with my relationship, I will try to deal with that. So usually there's a big fight between the heart and the mind. I mean, I hear a lot of women saying, oh, I like a bad boy. Have you heard people saying that? I want a bad boy because he's exciting. But this is your heart speaking, because your mind tells you that he's a bad boy for a reason. And if he's a bad boy for a reason, who's going to suffer the consequences later is you who chose that bad boy. We're going to talk a little bit about this later. But I want to talk about how your heart influences you in your love life. And the first thing that your heart influences you is in choosing a partner. Because we see a lot of times people talking to us about their love life and saying, listen, I've met this person. I'm not sure if this is going to work because this person has a very different past to mine, or I want to go this direction, this person wants to go that direction. I'm not sure that this will work. But if I date this person, if I marry this person, I won't be alone anymore. So their heart tells them what? No, just go ahead and do it. At least you have someone that you can date and you can tell your friends you're not alone anymore. But who is telling you, or what is telling you that, perhaps because he wants to go this way, you want to go that way, things might not work in the end and so on? Who is telling you that? Who do you think is giving you these signs? Go ahead. Isn't it your heart? Don't you think it's your heart? Sorry, your mind, right? Because your heart says, listen, forget about the fact that you are so different, your worlds apart. Forget about that. Because it has to work. At the end of the day, you love each other. And when people use their hearts, they just throw this word love around. They just say, no, you love each other. And love conquers all. Love conquers everything. If you love each other, no matter, she's 65, you're 22, it's going to work. Because you love each other.
Many even say, all we need is love, and we don't need money.
The Beatles said that, right?
Yeah, we don't need money, we don't need security, we don't need anything. All I need is you, you need me, and I need you, and it goes on like this. And then, when the penny drops, they realize that they are really unhappy and things are not working because they did not think this through.
Yeah.
And it's a big problem.
And usually, that subtle voice that speaks to you when you're about to make a decision in your love life, that subtle voice comes from where? From your mind, that is telling you perhaps that's not going to end up the way that you thought. So your heart influences in choosing your partner. Your heart says, have you heard this one before? It's wrong, but it feels so right. Right? Listen, I know it's wrong, but it feels so right. You know when you hear this voice, let me tell you. You hear this voice when you have that whole tub of ice cream in front of you, and you're about to drown your sorrows, and then your heart tells you, it's wrong, but it feels so right.
And then you cry the next day, isn't
And then
it?
when you finish eating the whole pot, then you cry. Because your heart, and relationships is the same thing. It's like, how many times I've heard people saying, listen, he cheated on me, so I cheated back on him. I know it's wrong, but it felt right. Who was telling you to go and do that? Was it your intelligent faith? No, it was your heart. You wanted to get back at that person.
You know, it's interesting. These small sayings like, oh, follow your heart, what you just said. It's like a trend. It's a trend that came about, from Hollywood and some silly movies that they make it look like something that doesn't exist, okay?
And we're going to talk about Hollywood in just a second.
But we want to create a different trend here, which is to use your mind before you use your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we've been speaking about this lately, but it has to sink in.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to make this trend, help me
Catch
with the
on.
English, that's it. Because that's
Absolutely.
what works.
The next thing that your heart influences you is in which way an argument goes. And let me tell you, Elena was talking earlier about arguments. And maybe you look at us here and you think we're a perfect couple, we've never had arguments. And we don't really have arguments anymore. Sometimes, right? When there's a full
About
moon,
silly things,
something like that.
usually.
But in the past, we used to argue a lot. Why? Because my mentality was that if she was saying something to me that I didn't agree with, if we had a difference of opinion, my understanding was that she had to accept what I had to say because I'm the man. Just because she's a woman doesn't mean that she's wrong. Actually, many times, guess who was right? I was. But she was as well. Many times she was right.
He
Many
never says
times-
that to me, okay? He just said it in front of you, but he never says that I was right. So, it's a
Which
good one.
actually, it is more important because I'm saying in front of everyone.
Yeah, right.
But the important thing is that why the arguments before? Very simple. Because my heart said, listen, you're the man, you cannot go down to the level of accepting the fact that she was right and you're wrong. So we would argue about that.
And because I wanted to be heard, I would want to, try to make my point in a not very nice way. Maybe I would be a bit louder, maybe I would be,
And then
you
I
know
would
what,
be
I don't-
louder, and then she would be louder, and then... And you know, the louder people speak, the less you listen. Learn that. If you have an argument with your mom, with your dad, with your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, doesn't matter. The louder you shout, the less people are listening to you. And usually if you have a point to make, you need to make that point making an intelligent point. So your heart decides also which way an argument goes. And, very important, when you don't make decisions in your love life based on your own mind, your own decisions, do you know what happens? You, like Elena was saying about the trends, you follow whatever trend. Your heart, it's like when you were in high school. Because when you were in high school, every week you fell in love with a different person. This week, and by the way, now with Facebook, this is even more intensified because there are some people that they like to pour out their troubles and their apparent successes on Facebook. So today they fall in love with someone, they put on Facebook, oh, I've never met anyone like you, and they put the picture of the person. Oh, meeting you was like meeting, I don't know, the guy says, meeting you was like meeting a mermaid. I don't know what they write. And they put the picture of the person, and then they change the status, oh, in a relationship. And then everybody talks about, oh, did you hear that he changed the status on Facebook? Now he's...
It's quite sad, isn't it?
It's not a...
Sometimes.
The problem is that these same people sometimes, a week later, they remove the picture of the person, status goes back to single, and then the messages change. Oh, men are all the same. I knew you were lying to me. You are a two-timing so-and-so. Right? A week later, what do? They put another picture there and say, no, this one is for real. I know we've only known each other for 2 weeks, but it feels like we've known each other for many years.
It's true.
It's like we were separated at birth and we're being brought together now.
You see that people are looking for love, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's part of life. It's a need for you to find the other person to complete you, but they are doing it in the wrong way.
Yeah. So, Lena, when we talk about love, when we say love, a loving relationship, here's what comes to your head. I'm going to show you, when we talk about love, what your brain produces. But even though your brain produces this picture comes from your heart. But when you talk about love, relationship, getting married, your brain immediately produces this picture. Look at that. For you, this is love. Picnic. And of course, the weather's nice. Can you see the sunset? It's some birds singing in the background. By the way, this can't be in England because the weather's too good, right? But we talk about love, and this is what many people think about. And although you create this picture with your mind, this picture comes from your heart. Now, the problem with this is that when you eventually find someone and you get married, and trust me, it's not like that. Oh, but listen, don't you go on picnics sometimes? Once every 10 years, perhaps.
Maybe to the restaurant is much faster.
Because the thing is, this is not, listen, what you see there, this is not the day-to-day reality of a marriage. And the person who gets married with the perception, the heart, the sentimental perception that this is how it is, they get married, they get disappointed, they think this is not what I thought it was going to be like, then everything goes down the drain because they think it's not like I thought it was. You promised to me to be romantic and you are not, and everything starts to go wrong. And the problem is not that the person changed, is that you bought into an idea that is a lie, right?
You're looking for something that doesn't exist.
Yeah, and we're not saying that you won't have these days. I'm just saying that these days don't happen every day, never mind every month. Do you understand? Here's the problem with this fake idea of love, is that if you're single, you go into a relationship thinking that this is how your relationship is going to be. And then you get disappointed because, like Tina Turner was singing, who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? Your heart gets broken because you went into that relationship with a false idea of what love was. And then, of course, when you get married, even worse, because when you get married, you think, listen, he's going to bring me chocolates every day. Listen, she's going to do this for me every time, and this and that. And you forget that people have jobs. When you get married, you have a job, right? I would hope so. And if you have a job, you can't go on picnics every day. You may not be able to bring chocolates every day. Sometimes you need to pick up the kids from school. You may not have time to pick up the roses you want, the chocolates you want. But there's other things that make this person so special that perhaps you are ignoring because you want what the heart is telling you you should have. And then those who get married with this wrong idea of what love is, they start suffering.
And this also goes for men, okay? Men who think that a woman will always be beautifully young forever, you know, no wrinkles, no, you know, how do you call these things?
Love handles. Is it love handles?
I've got a few actually. So I mean, it's life. I mean, people change. People go through different stages in their life.
But you know, as the woman changes, the man changes.
Yeah, but many don't
well.
see that. So when they see the woman getting old, changing after birth and things like this, oh, I don't feel the same about her because she's different. I mean, what is this about? It's not love.
And what you said there already shows the problem. Because you said, I don't feel the same. And it's not about what you feel. The reason why you say that, here's the problem. The problem is this, is that everyone is drinking the Hollywood KoolAid. Have you heard this expression? Everyone is drinking the KoolAid. Hollywood is selling you this idea of love and you're buying into it. And you are being so naive to perhaps one of the most deceitful things in this world are romantic movies. Because it's never like that, ever. Who on earth chooses someone to get married based on the first look? Oh, the way we looked at each other, I knew we were made for each other.
Well, I'm glad you didn't do that with me because
it's wrong.
You know, I wasn't having a good day when we first met.
Is it?
Yeah.
You were having...
So...
Actually...
It's true. I mean, it's true. I usually think, and I stand by this, first impressions are not fair.
And...
Because everyone says first impressions is everything. I don't agree with that.
I was not having a good day because when I went to meet her in Portugal, I lost my return ticket.
And the first thing we did was to go
to the airport, find a ticket. But the thing is that, listen, let's put the heart a little bit to a side. How does it happen in reality? Forget about what Hollywood tells you. Hollywood says the first glance, the first look, you know, the first kiss, you know. But in reality, how is it? In reality, what do you do when you want to buy a house? How do you choose a house? You don't look at a house and you get a feeling about the house. You look at a lot of different things. You look, first of all, if you can afford the house. You look if the house is close to your workplace, to your kid's school. You look at if the house is too big, too small. And based on all this information, you make a decision. So when we met each other, we started to do a little list where I would check her character. I would even check her height. That's right. Height is that a
very
big
high heels
is that a big deal? It's a big, well, it's not a big deal, but I wanted to make sure that I wouldn't kiss her like this, right? So I checked height, but height is not that important. More important is her character, is her goals in life, is all these things.
And of course, you also like me, right?
Very much.
Okay. Because it is important, you know, we speak a lot about intelligent...
intelligent love.
Yeah, intelligent love. You do have... my mic is going crazy sometimes. We do have to like what we see. But, of course, we need to see what's behind what we can actually see.
What you see is not enough to make a decision.
Yeah. And you have to give the person a chance. If the person doesn't look that great, maybe he's having a bad day, you know, something.
Yeah, and
happens.
you know, sometimes this happens a lot when we have an event where we call the singles like we had today. A lot of people say, but this person approached me, but this person wasn't what I thought. Because your idea of the right man or the right woman is this. That's your right idea. Look, the guy has a pearly white smile. Look at his dress sense.
Perfectly straight teeth.
Perfectly straight teeth. He has great hair. He has the roses
He's
in one
got
hand.
all the hair, huh?
Huh?
There's no hair missing in there, is there?
Yeah, all the hair is there. Chocolates. And what about the woman? Look at the woman. The woman has the table set. Can you see that? That's a picture of perfection. So when the person asks around for advice, look, do you know someone? Or when they come to these meetings and they expect to meet someone, they come with that in mind. Let me tell you something. You know that guy in the picture? Can you see that guy? Can you see him? That guy, what? No, but I met a guy very similar like him. Okay, maybe he looks similar, but trust me, he will not arrive every day with roses and chocolates.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you won't have the money to buy
Exactly.
chocolates.
Yeah, that guy
All
doesn't
the time,
exist.
isn't it?
And you know what happens sometimes? Is that you have that guy, you have that woman in mind. You come to this meeting, but then instead of that guy approaching you, that woman approaching you, whether here, whether in your circle of friends, instead of that guy, there's another guy. This guy comes. Oh, but look, that guy, look at his dress sense. And the guy is a little bit on the chubby side, right? But tell you what, he's got a job, right? He's got a job, isn't that good?
He seems quite happy as well.
He seems like a,
No grumpy face.
yeah, he seems like he could be a good conversationist. You'd go up to him and say, how are you? And listen, I'm not saying that you have to go for someone like this. But what I'm saying to you is that you need to take everything that the KoolAid of Hollywood has sold you and what you thought about love in this rosy way, and you need to get rid of that, and you need to start learning what true love really is. And by the way, Lenny, this past weeks, we had some videos of couples that we put of the Love Talk Live event on Facebook and YouTube. I don't know, some of you might have seen it, right? And some of those couples were smiling and laughing. But many of them weren't laughing and smiling when they first got married. Many of them, when they first got married, they had arguments. When they first started being with each other, there were problems. But then they started to love intelligently. So, come here. You know Michelle and Chris, right? You that have been coming to the love therapy. What's special about them and why I wanted them here is that what's happening now in July?
We're getting married in July.
You're getting married in July. But they started talking for the first time in this meeting July last year, right? Now, you went about things in an unconventional way because you approached him.
Yes,
How did it go?
Well, similar to what you did this afternoon, we had, well, it wasn't a speed dating, I don't think today, but we had a speed dating quite a while back, and I spotted him there.
You spotted him. But speak closer to the microphone.
Okay,
Good.
so yeah, we had a speed dating a while back, and I spotted him there. But I didn't do much for about a year. I just kept it in mind that I thought he was pretty suitable.
Can I just interrupt you there? So you saw him, so he came.
Mm-hmm. If he
see my
wasn't
point?
there, she couldn't have seen him.
Exactly. Sorry, I just wanted
It's
to make
important
sure.
you know that because the people
Please.
that are at home tonight, they're probably saying, oh, why don't I meet someone because they weren't here, right? So you spotted him, he looked suitable.
Yeah, by the way, I've been coming to the Therapy of Love since 2007. So I've been to quite a lot of speed datings, quite a lot of encounters, and it's not always been easy. You know, sometimes you'll meet people that are not appropriate and you'll say, oh, never again. But I said, I'm going to keep going and I'm going to show you, God, through me attending these sessions that I don't really like, I'm showing you how serious I am about being blessed in my love life.
Now, so when you approached him, what did you say? What did she say to you, Chris?
I was just leaving. I was walking out the door. I wasn't really thinking anything. Literally, all I heard is my name being called, and I looked, oh, it's Michelle. And then after some small talk, she just said, "Are you interested in getting to see if we're compatible?" I was like, "Yeah, okay."
So she did a little bit of small talk, and she said, "Look, do you want to see if we're compatible?" Now, do you know why I called you guys here? Because some people say, "Look, I've tried all the conventional stuff. I've tried the meetings. I've tried, making myself available for people to approach me." Maybe what you haven't tried is the unconventional stuff. If the conventional stuff isn't working, you need to try something different, right? So you went ahead, you were waiting for someone to approach you, and they didn't. So you approached him. Sometimes the guy is supposed to be the one who goes there, who's bold, but you did that, right? Were you offended when she did that?
No, can I add something to that? I didn't consider Michelle at all before, so if she didn't approach me, then you probably wouldn't be here right now. So, as Michelle always said, if you like someone and you're a girl, don't be shy.
Yeah. So you guys have now been talking, then you started dating, you spoke for about 2-3 months, started dating, and you're now about to get married. How has the journey been? What have you learned in terms of the love of the heart and the intelligent love?
Well, the first thing I said, everything that we learned in love therapy, the love school, everything has been helpful. Everything, the advice you gave us, for example, the first thing we did when we went to start dating is we spoke to you. You gave us advice, you gave us guidelines, and everything that we heard, we applied it. And when we done that, things just moved forward very smoothly. So, for example, we took time to get to know each other. We took time talking. We wasn't going to rush anything at all. So,
And actually, Chris, a lot of people say, well, but if you started getting to know each other in July and getting married in July, isn't that rushing? No, 1 year is enough, usually, for you to know someone.
If you're doing the right thing.
I think you need to, yeah.
Thank you.
If you're doing the right
If
thing.
you're doing the right thing, then it's plenty of time.
Yeah, and a lot of people say, well, we've been dating for 5 years. We're still not sure if we're right for each other. Then there's something wrong. Because after a few months, you should know, right?
that's exactly what you said. When you started talking, when you want to start dating, you said after 2 to 3 months, you're going to know if you're right for each other or not. And this is exactly how it happened.
That's great. And I'm very happy for them. Do you know why I'm happy for them? Because you guys believed. You started to learn how to use the intelligent kind of love, and you believed that something was going to happen. And many people want, but they don't believe enough to fight for it, and you did. And you are now reaping the benefits. And I'm sure you're going to be very happy in the future. You want to say something?
I was going to say, sometimes people believe, and then they look at the time, and then they give up halfway. And they might be almost, the blessing might be like very close to the blessing, and they gave up halfway.
Yeah.
So you have to keep going. 7 years is a long time. I've been in the therapy of love for 7 years, but I kept going.
It paid off.
It paid off.
That's great. Give a strong hand clap to God. Okay, so how do you solve conflicts then? How do you solve conflicts in marriage? How do you solve conflicts? Because conflicts don't just happen in marriage. There are many conflicts in the making, in people who are dating, in people who are looking for someone, because sometimes you don't have anyone, but there are conflicts in the making because you make decisions that are led by your heart. How do you solve conflicts? Remember at school when you were learning to add up. Is it add up you call it? To add. 2 + 2 is 4. Do you remember that? 4 + 4 is, you didn't go to school. 4 + 4 is, good. 363 square root of 9 is, that's a difficult one. But I remember when I was at school, primary school, I remember I was learning to add, and I can't remember, I was about 7 years old. And I got really frustrated because I couldn't do this adding up that the teacher had given us. And I got so frustrated, I started to take my exercise book, and I started to smash the paper and tear it to one side. Do you think I solved the problem? When the teacher said, little James, how much is 10 plus 25? Do you think I had the answer? No. And that's what many people do when they're in a marriage and they get frustrated. They start to lose their temper and say things that they can't take back afterwards and do all these things, and you are making things worse because you can't control yourself.
And one thing that happens a lot is the blaming game. It's like, it's your fault. It's very hard for someone to see their own mistakes. That's why we don't usually like when people say it, say to us, listen, this is your problem. This is why we don't get along. And I would say also that one of the, something that is very important for you to solve problems is for you to solve your own, problems in your relationship is for you to solve your own problems, your inner problems. You don't see your mistakes. You think you see yourself so up here that you don't even consider, hold on, you don't even stop to think, I'm not that perfect anyway. So maybe the other person is right in what she's saying.
There is a chance that I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So here's how you solve conflict. Come here, please, Elena. She said, what are you going to do? She's scared.
He doesn't usually tell me.
When you're angry about a problem, last thing you can do is to vent your frustration at that person. The person who's with you is never the problem. What you need to do is you need to join forces to tackle the problem. That's what you need to do. So how do you solve conflict in a relationship? If one is about to blow up like a pressure cooker, then you need to be calm and wait a little bit. And when the other one is calmer, you need to sit down and you need to talk. Look, perhaps you're right. I think maybe you're right. Even if, but I don't believe that he's right. I don't believe he's right. Why should I say maybe you're right?
Because you're trying to solve the problem.
Yeah. And maybe you don't think that she's right or that he's right, but maybe they are. And for the sake of avoiding a big problem, you saying, listen, you might be right. Let's sleep on it. Let's talk about it tomorrow again. We'll come back to it. When you come back to it, no one is going to be upset about it. You'll come.
But you know something, I'm sorry to interrupt you. So we see ourselves so good. You know, when you look at yourself and you think, oh, I'm so good, I'm so nice, I'm so understanding, I'm so everything. And that when someone points out something about you, it's like, it's like a defense mechanism. Like, what? I'm not like this, I'm not that. And this is why, this lack of humbleness, this is what creates many arguments in a relationship.
I'm going to give you an example. This week, we were talking about this meeting, my wife and I. And we were talking, planning the meeting, what we were going to talk about, and so on. In my mind, I set aside half an hour.
Which is not enough.
Little did I know what was going to happen. So I set aside half an hour of my day to talk about the meeting and how we were planning things. Because men, when they plan things, is like this. Carlos, let's do this tomorrow, 10 o'clock. You agree with me? Job done. See you tomorrow. And then sometimes things go wrong because you didn't plan well enough.
It's because you did not plan enough.
And by the way, I didn't even ask him for his opinion. Carlos, let's do it tomorrow, 10 o'clock. Are you ready? Let's do it. It's going to work. But then we sat down, and then I said to her, look, we're going to do this and do that. And then Elena said, And then when Elena does the I start to think, oh my God, this is going to be a long one.
No,
it's going to be
because I my gosh, it's like I can't speak today. Cannot agree with something.
Or you didn't understand.
And I need to understand.
No, but actually, she's right. I'm not saying I'm right. You're right. You should do like this.
You don't think I'm right.
No, she is.
I know him.
So we were, she was saying, but if we say this, then what about that? And I said, no, yes, but forget about that. Let's just do this. I said, yes, but I want to understand it better. And then I said, okay. So.
For you to be able to explain something, you need to understand.
But you know why I'm telling you this? Because she's actually right in saying these things. And I shouldn't have set aside half an hour, because it's not a meeting with myself. It's a meeting with another person who has opinions, who has ideas, and great ideas, by the way. And then I started to say, God, we've been here for 2 hours. I need to go. My desire was to say, okay, all right, fine. We'll talk about it later. I'm gonna go. But then my intelligent love said, no, you need to listen to her, because she has very good points to make. She's a woman. You need to understand the side of the woman.
You're not doing a meeting just for men. There's
Exactly.
women there as well.
And that, in the past, I guarantee you it would have turned into an argument. One doesn't understand each other. He says, no, it has to be this way. But why does it have to be your way? Who are you to say that it has to be your way? You didn't marry yourself. You're not dating yourself. You're dating a person who has ideas, who has opinions, and who has, she has an input into what you're saying. And if you follow your feelings, your heart, sooner or later, this is what's going to happen. Your relationship, it would be good if the thing could be on. Your relationship is going to blow up like a balloon sooner or later. Unless you learn to live and to love intelligently. Are you following? Yes or no? My advice to you tonight, whether you are single, whether you are married, dating, is that you don't drink the KoolAid of love that this world talks about. KoolAid is an American word for a drink they have there. It's a term they have. If we bring it to England, is don't drink the Earl Grey tea that they're selling you of relationships, because it's not like people tell you that it should be. You need to be able to make your own decision of what is best for your relationship, what is best for you. Maybe you say, listen, but I am head over heels in love with this person. Take the heels off. If you say I'm head over heels, take the heels off and think. Because when you have heels on, you can't think.
Can I just interrupt you very quickly and say just a story? I was advising this young woman. She was attending on and off the love therapy, but I've known her for a while, and she's been single ever since I've known her, which is many, many years. I would say like 14 years. She came to me once. She wasn't very keen on talking about love life that much. Maybe she had, started to think, I don't want to go there anymore. If it happens, it happens. And we had a good talk. And she said, you know what my problem is? I like a man with very nice straight teeth, tall man, super professional, that has this and that, that has dreams and is a go-getter and things like that. And I said to her, maybe, the person that you are looking at, maybe there's someone close to you that you've known for a long time that maybe doesn't have straight teeth, but if he goes to the dentist, it's true. My point here is this. When we first met, and I'm not putting myself down here, okay? I'm just giving an example. My sense of dress sense, thank you, isn't that great? I'm learning, but it helps me a lot.
It's amazing. Your dress sense is amazing.
Because you help me, right? Anyway,
as well.
So you see, when you get together with someone, you add up. Mm-hmm. You are not in a relationship to suck everything out of the other person. It's not a relationship. You don't understand what that is. But you are there to add, to help the person.
You make the person better.
Yeah, but end of the story, they are now together and very happy, and yeah, they're going to get married soon as well.
And he has
Because she
teeth.
saw past teeth and the height, and they are very happy.
So, if you want a relationship to work, you need to go beyond the heart. We know that relationships have feelings. We know this, right? I have feelings for my wife, but you can never solve a conflict with feelings. You have to solve a conflict with the best idea and the best way to come to an agreement, right? If you have this idea of the person that should be with you, like you saw there on the picture, you know, what's the point of having someone who's very romantic? But the romance, I know the romance lasts, but the thing is, a relationship can never be based on romance. Romance is there, but the relationship has to be based on the character of the two people, the goals of the two people, never on romance. My challenge here to you today is that you start addressing and looking at your love life never as a way of following emotions, but that you start looking at your love life in an intelligent way. Perhaps the way you're going to have to leave here tonight and look at your marriage, your relationship, or at looking for the potential person, maybe the way you're going to look at that has to be different, has to change. But maybe that's what you needed, was to change the way that you looked at dealing with your love life. Are you following? And I want to make a challenge here with you today. We are going to take you and your love life to a new level, a level where you are not going to go by feelings. One of the things we said about the heart is that the heart tells you, or those who live by the feelings, they are easily swayed by others. Do you remember that? And sometimes you have this, you believe that, you know, you're going to be happy, your marriage is going to work, you can solve whatever problems you had. And then other times your colleague from work says, listen, if I were you, I would give up this marriage. And because you are building that relationship on feelings, one day you believe your marriage can be better, another day you don't. Because perhaps you follow your feelings, one day you believe that someone is gonna show up that's gonna be part of your life, another time you don't. Because you go by feelings, you say, listen, I think someone's gonna want me, another day you don't believe that anymore. And the most foolish thing in this world is to do anything by feelings. An architect doesn't build a second floor saying, I believe the second floor will hold the weight of the rest of the building. I feel it's gonna hold. An architect doesn't do that. An architect, everything is calculated. Isn't it true? There's no margin for error. Why shouldn't you calculate your love life? Why shouldn't you diminish the margin for error in your love life? If you use your intelligent love, you are able to do that. And I want to make a challenge here to you now, you that want to do that. So what we've said here goes for those who are married, goes for those who are single, goes for those who are dating, goes for everyone. Everyone. And it's a choice you're going to have to make. Not to drink the love KoolAid of Hollywood, but for you to build something different. Like my wife said, we're going to start a new trend here tonight. A trend of people who build their love lives on intelligent decisions and never on feelings anymore. Are you following? Yes or no? You that want to take this challenge, you that say, look, I am ready to change the way that I think, the way that I behave. And perhaps you came here tonight. Let me just say this so that we can address the elephant in the room. Perhaps you came here tonight thinking, I'm going to go there because many singles will be there and I'm going to meet someone. And perhaps you have met someone, but you don't even know. Michelle said she was keeping an eye on Chris for a year, right? Chris had already met the woman he was going to marry, but he didn't know Perhaps you met this person. Perhaps you didn't. It doesn't matter. Because if you start addressing your love life in an intelligent way, it's only a matter of time until the fruit will begin to appear. Right? Do you want to take on this challenge? Not to mention that those who follow the heart, the feelings, they are unbalanced, because people who are emotional are unbalanced. Do you agree with me? A person who's emotional is unbalanced. One day they believe, another day they don't. One day they're happy, another way they're sad. But you that say, listen, I believe that something, if I change the way that I think, the way that I deal with relationships, with love, I believe that things are going to change for me. And you want to take this challenge, not to see love like the world sees, like Hollywood sees, but the way we explained here to you tonight. You that want to take on that challenge, stand up where you are, please. And this is going to change your marriage. If you're married and you had arguments, you were thinking of even giving up, you were thinking that it was never going to work, this will change your marriage. Amen, friends. Listen to me. This will, if you think that prayers would change your marriage, prayer is important, but doesn't change your marriage. It's the way that you deal with the conflicts and the way that you deal with the situations that arise that changes your marriage. And being emotional about it never ever changes anything. But intelligent love can change everything. Whether you're single, married, what else? Divorced, widowed, dating. Did I leave anyone out? Everyone included. So it can change everyone's life.